Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show. Thanks for coming tonight, and welcome to our Real Estate Investors Hangouts. I do the show every Thursday night at 6 o'clock Pacific, and if you're in the East Coast, it's 9 o'clock. So welcome. Grab a water bottle, tea, something to drink, whatever suits you, and let's start right in. The last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the real estate investor matrix, how to use your resources wisely when you choose what kind of real estate to go into, as well as how to find the deal. Last week, we talked about how to find the deal. So I'm just going to review for like 5 minutes. If you missed some of those, the complete shows on YouTube. Let me just pull up that matrix for 1 second. See if we got it here. There we go. All right, last 2 weeks ago, I talked about the matrix, and in the matrix, you can see the 4 different things that you can have, your 4 resources: cash, credit, time, or skills. And I'm going to do this on a much bigger mind map later on. So between cash and credit, you can be a private lender. If you have time and skills, you can be a wholesaler. If you have cash, time, and skills, you can be a flipper. And if you have cash, credit, and some skills, you can be a landlord. So I want people to start out with the resources they have and then move quickly to gather up those other resources that they don't have, or to partner with other people that have those other resources. But anyway, that's the real estate investor matrix. And the only thing not on there is team. And definitely you can the other resources by teaming up with someone. So that's the 5th key to this. Let me switch back now. Show you a couple things here. And another thing I talked about at that point was what kind of house you're looking for. So I showed these really cute things made by my son with Legos. And here's a nice house that you might want to live in. This is a luxury house. It has a nice limo there on the side. It has a pool in the back. See the pool? It has a lot of nice landscaping. It's probably 2 stories. It's quite large, and it takes money to maintain it. So that's where you want to live. That's not the kind of investment property you want to buy. Here's your investment property. Let me get it in view here. So here's the front. I put an RV on the side there because we're in California and people have RVs. It's just a basic house, anywhere from 1,000 square feet up to maybe 1,600 square feet, 18 at the most. Unless you're in Utah, you don't want to go beyond that, because that's a typical size for a family, and that's really the right price for you. These are called starter homes. So 50% of the market contains starter homes, and those are the homes that you're going to be able to buy. They're probably distressed. The person can't get themselves out of the situation they're in, and those are the ones you're going to make the profits on. So those are a couple of examples I just wanted to show you tonight. So if you're watching, please go ahead. If you're on my website, go ahead and say where you're watching from. There are comments below that either go on G+ or on Facebook. And if you're watching on the event page on Facebook, go ahead and type in where you're joining us from, and I'll take a look at those. If you can type that in, tell us your name and where you're from. I think you can also do it on YouTube as well. So let me just check those and do a shout out to everyone who's watching the show tonight. Take a look here. So I'm checking all the different pages while we're there. Okay. Boyka might be watching. She said she was going to come. So welcome. If you if you know how to do that, just go ahead and type in and tell us where you are joining us from. That would be awesome. We have people from all over the country that want to learn about investing, and so they like to join our calls. Okay, let me go back to my regular. There we go. All right. So today my topic is going to be about funding deals. First, I'll just give you a little bit of history. I became a full-time real estate investor in 2004. I got laid off in 2003, and it became clear that I had to do something else besides work in the tech industry. But that's not where I started. I started out being a landlord. I'd been a landlord since 1989. And I had 3 rentals by the time I got laid off. But the difference was that I bought those rentals as places to live in, and then when I moved, I would keep the rental and get another one. So I'd acquired them in the conventional manner. I hadn't bought them as a deal. I'd gotten a good price on them because the market happened to be right when I bought them. But that's not my original intent, was not to buy them as a deal. So in 2003 and 4, and I started doing all my education and learning how to buy properties. I bought my first deal as a wholesale deal off of another investor, and it was sight unseen. I had not seen the property because it was out of state. I'm in San Diego, and things are pretty expensive here. So anyway, I started in 2004 full time, and that's when I started buying properties to actually make money, and not to live in. So behind me on the bulletin board, the whiteboard, I've put a list of ways to find deals. So I'm going to tip the screen down a little bit so you can see the top before we get started here. I'll just scoot to the side a little bit, and we can see kind of the main ones there. So the first one is conventional. So that's conventional financing. For conventional financing, the deal has to be in pretty good shape. It must have a furnace and must have a working stove. Those are kind of the things people, the banks want to see. All the windows must be intact, that type of thing. So you have to be able to live in the house to get conventional financing, because they want you to get a conventional type of insurance policy. And I imagine that people on this call might be able to handle one of those, but you can only get, you're limited by the banks. You can get maybe 4 before your credit kind of runs out and you can't really get any more. It used to be you could get up to 10. So that's not really an option for real estate investors, but I put it there as the first thing people think about. Second way to fund some deals are credit card checks. Now, I do like this method. It only works on cheaper houses, obviously. And the first 2 that I put up there, number 1 and 2, you have to have good credit. So I put them up first to kind of get them out of the way. If you don't have good credit, it's not going to help you that much. But I have bought some houses with credit card checks. I bought one house completely with a credit card check, actually 2 checks together, for a total of, I think, $35,000 or $40,000. And then we rehabbed it, and I refinanced it within the first 6 months. And those credit card checks had 0 interest. So I paid no interest while I was rehabbing it. It was an awesome deal. So credit card checks are a really good way to handle your, tip it down a little bit, to start out if you're in an inexpensive market. The next one is seller financing. It is really common to get seller financing on apartment buildings, especially on rental properties. But you can also get it on a regular house, and in that case, it's called subject to. So we're doing a deal right now where we got the property subject to. We bought it through escrow, so the loan just stayed with the property, and the owners were willing to, let the loan stay on the property. We're improving their credit by making payments. So we brought it subject to. We're going to fix it up. I don't really want to sell that one as a flip, because once you have that loan subject to, it's not on the credit, not on the credit report for any of my partners or myself. So it's a good thing to keep as a rental. So that's one of the beauties of subject to. It's somebody else's credit. You're actually improving the previous owner's credit by doing that, and it went smoothly through escrow, no problem. And then we just put on some better insurance for vacant homes when we're working on them. So the insurance on a vacant home is a lot more expensive than a typical homeowner's insurance. So it's called a builder's risk or a hazard type insurance. So you need that even if you're buying it subject to keep as a rental, that's fine, as long as it's occupied. Seller financing, very common on apartment buildings, even small multi-units, because the owner knows that he probably bought it that way or she bought it that way with seller financing. And if the property has any problems or it doesn't have enough tenants in it, you won't be able to get financing from a bank because it doesn't have the income to support it. So they'll often do short-term seller financing until you get the property stabilized with tenants in it that they're covering the rent. So the point is to get that seller financing and then stabilize the property and then either refinance or sell it to a landlord. So that's the deal with seller financing. That's a great way to find your property. You'll probably have to then, find some money for the rehab aside from that, but the seller financing gets the bulk of the purchase done. Next way, number 4, partners. Okay. Real estate investing is a team sport. So go out and find some partners. Some people have the cash and no time. They don't have the expertise. Or they could be a credit partner. They could apply for the loan. They may have credit card checks. And we'll talk a little bit about it later. They might have IRA money. They might have HELOC money. I'll talk about how to utilize those types of money. The next way is hard money. So with hard money, I'm going to talk a little bit about why you really don't want hard money and why you want to move quickly to number 6, which is private money. Now, I've done a number of deals with hard money, and they're very difficult. They're hard because all the fees that come to the private lender, to the hard money lender, cut into the profit for your deal. So it's hard to make money when you use a hard money lender. That's the way you should remember it. Let me check my notes down here. All right. So what I want you to do is develop, some private money contacts on your own. So let me take a look over here. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about hard money and compare it to private money. So if you did a deal with hard money and you say you bought it for $165,000 and you were going to do $20,000 in rehab, and we won't talk about all the different closing costs, but I'll put an example up a little bit later. And if you did private money and say you paid your private lender 4%, and in 4 months you were done, you would spend about $5,000 in interest. If you got a hard money lender for 15% and 5 points, and I'm just going to say that you financed the whole $185,000 in both examples, and normally you couldn't finance all of that with hard money, but if you did, you'd be paying about $9,000 in points and $9,000 in interest to the hard money lender. So $5,000 to the private lender, $18,000 is what you would spend with a hard money lender. Really hard to make a profit with those kind of deals, those kind of terms. So a hard money loan typically will have up to 15% interest. Sometimes they'll start at 12, and they usually want 5 points. We do have one lender who goes with about 2.5 to 3 points, which is really nice for us. But we have to put up a substantial amount of, the down payment and the rehab costs ourselves. And the other thing is that the down payment and the rehab costs, they don't consider that your money. They actually collect it from you at escrow and then dole it out to you in small amounts. Okay, as you do the rehab, they'll refund you. Okay, And those are called draws. I just blanked on what the word was called right there. So there's also a lot of fees on the closing. So when you do the closing, you're going to have a draw inspection fee. Sometimes you're going to have that fee for 2 or 3 times during the rehab when you're being inspected. You're also going to have a funding fee. I'm looking at my notes because there's so many of them. You're going to have a contractor, sort of an administration fee, because sometimes the hard money guys are in their office. They hire a contractor to go check on your rehab. So they have to pay that guy too. They have a processing fee, which is normal for a loan, and an underwriting fee. So on top of the 5 points, they have all these other ways to make a profit from your deal. Okay. So say you paid 3,000 in points, you're going to pay about another 2 or 3,000 in fees. We call them junk fees because it's a lot of junk that they throw in there that costs you to do the deal. And the hard part about those draws is that you have to submit the money and wait for them to look at it, and then they send you a check. In the meantime, you've already paid for your materials and your guys, and you're kind of stuck. You can't do any more rehab until you get the draw fee reimbursed by them. So it's a way for them to protect their money, but they have a lot of control of your deal. If you don't know that much about doing the rehab, it's actually kind of like getting an experienced partner. So maybe the first time you want to use a hard money lender, just to get the experience and have them kind of look over your shoulder and make sure that the deal's worth doing. So it is one way to, fund your deals. I prefer the private money, and I'm going to teach you some more in the next few weeks about how to get, more private money lenders for yourself. So what I want to do is teach you how to find your own private lenders. So what happens with a hard money lender? There's 3 ways that they have to come up with money. Hard money lenders have their own money. They have a line of credit from a bank, and they may be getting the line of credit for, say, 6%, and then they lend it out to you for 12 to 15%. And the third way is that they have their own private money lenders. They have a list of people that they look at to see if they're going to fund the deal. Let's see, Joe will probably do this deal. And then they search out, those lenders that will fund your deal. So they're really the middleman. They're a broker, essentially. So what I want you to do is to be able to develop your own private money lenders. So in many cases, a hard money lender is someone who found a bunch of private money lenders before you found them. That's the only thing different between you and them. They found some private money lenders. Now they broker those lenders. You haven't found your private money lenders yet. So I want to help you and enable you to do that, because really that's the most convenient way to invest in real estate. All right, let's check and make sure we're on track here. The beauty of private money is that you can fund any property, anytime, for any amount. You're not limited. You're not limited at all. Any property at any time for any amount, because you're the one developing your private money lenders, and they just work with you. So what I want you to do is develop your private money lenders before you find the deal. I know that seems backwards, but by the time you find the deal, you'll be in a rush and you'll need to use a hard money lender, because a private money lender is going to be too gun shy. If you need the money right away, they don't really trust that. It takes time to develop those relationships and have the private money lender understand the deal, feel comfortable with what you're doing, maybe have seen a deal with you and looked over some of your numbers. So if you find the deal first, you're probably going to use a hard money lender. So I want you to work on always your private lenders and your contacts. I think it was Harvey Mackay in one of his books says, dig the well before you're thirsty. So get the private money lenders lined up before you need them. All right, before it's too late. So I do have a book on an ebook on private money, and I'm going to post that link a little bit later in the call. And with the link in the hard money, it's a private money book. It's an ebook. You can just download it, and with it comes a 10-day e-course that comes right into your email inbox about finding the private money lender. So it kind of keeps you on track, reminds you what you're doing, gives you tasks each day, so you can start to build confidence and develop your private money lenders. And with that, I usually send you this little private money example. So let me throw the example up here while we're talking. Oh, wrong example. There we go. Okay. So while that's up on the screen, I'm just going to give you an example. So if I was going to talk to a private money lender, I might want to bring a chart like this with me because it gives them confidence. Sometimes they're a little bit gun shy because they don't know where the money's going to come from to pay them. You know, they know when a bank says they're paying interest, you know, the money comes from the bank. But when the money's coming from you, they don't quite understand where that money's coming from. So I usually bring a little chart like this, you know, after we've had our initial conversation and we're going to be doing business together, and I explain to them, you know, how the deal's going to work. So first of all, I talk to them about a general purchase, and I'm going to say 226 as the general purchase. And you should really structure your example sheet for your market. I know when we buy houses in, say, Sacramento, we're working in the 150 range. If we buy houses in Phoenix, we're probably in the $80,000 range. So you need to show people an example of the market, you know, that you're working in. And I'll tell you a little bit later about your mindset and things about how you find the different people to be your private money lenders. So let's go through the example. So that's the purchase price, and I'm going to need about $33,000 in repairs. I don't think you can see my pointer, but I'm going to point up to it anyway. And then I have some closing costs, $3,000, and I'm going to need some interest. That's my interest per month, $1,700. I'm not going to pay them the interest really until the end, but I do have what I've added together are my holding costs, which are some utilities and the interest per month for 6 months. So then I show them what are my two possible exits. My first possible exit, of course, is to rehab the property, sell it in 6 months for a total price of $325,000. By that time, after 6 months, I'm going to owe $272,886 on the loan. When I sell it, I'm going to have a commission close to $20,000, and I'm going to have some closing costs, title insurance, etc. And so my net on this project will be $22,864. So I show them that there's a margin there. I will be making money, but they're also going to be making their interest at $1,700 a month if they funded the entire project, the loan of $262,000. So this is a basic example. So I always like to have another exit strategy. What happens if I can't sell that property? Well, I can rent it out. So I took a conservative rent of about $2,000 a month. A mortgage for 30 years would cost me, a 30-year mortgage would cost me $1,200. But if I just pay my private lender 6% interest, so what if at that point, if I decide not to sell it, we convert the original note to a longer term note, and we substitute in a different type of note. We modify the loan. So I'm going to now be paying them 6% interest. I have insurance, I have a management fee, and I have taxes. So that's assuming what my taxes would be. I'm using California as an example. And I also have cash flow per month. So what I'm telling my lender is, even if I couldn't sell it, I could rent it out and I would still be able to pay you. So that's kind of an example that I tell them where the money comes from if they lend on my particular property. So let's go back here. Hold on one sec. And we'll talk about our how to find your contacts. So if you have in your phone, say you have 50 contacts, you're going to be talking to each one of those people about private lending. And what I do is I usually, ask them a couple questions, see if they're interested. And after that conversation, I also ask them to talk to their contacts. So potentially, if they have 50 contacts in their phone, you have reach of, 2,500 people, because you're multiplying 50 times 50. That's how many people you could potentially reach just from looking at your phone. Okay. So I want also for you to focus on your mindset. Now, in your mind, you're asking for money, and that mindset won't work. Okay. You need to change your mindset. So your mindset with private money is that you're offering a service. Where else can someone make 6, 8, or 10% on their money? You can't get it in a CD. You can't, the stock market, your principal can go away. So in this case, for a private lender, their principal is secured by the property, and they're getting interest from the fact that you are increasing the value of the property by remodeling it and selling it or putting a tenant in there. So what I want you to do is practice talking to people about private lending. And you might ask them a question. Do you know anyone who's not receiving 8% on their investments right now? If you're worried about asking people that, I suggest you work with broke people. Ask someone who you absolutely know does not have the money. That way, they're going to say no. So you say, do you know someone? I mean, broke people always know someone who has money. So you're asking them, and you're not worried because you're not asking them for money. You're asking them if they know someone who's not. They might say, my uncle, he's complaining about the stock market and he's not making money. Or, my mom has all this money in CDs and she's only making 1%. It's terrible. So those are the kind of responses you get. And you can say, well, I invest in real estate. I have some deals coming up, and could I have an introduction and talk to them? And their money would be backed by real estate, and they could make 8 or 10% on their money. So that's a way to contact people initially. Now, if you do look at my ebook, you'll find lots of other ways to make contacts with people, and you'll be walked through the process. That was just like a really short synopsis of, what you can do to find private lenders. Another way to talk to the private lenders is ask them what they're getting in their CD. You can ask them what they're making in their IRA or their 401k. So there's a lot of sources of money with a private lender. They can get out of a CD that they have. And in fact, your interest would more than pay their penalty for getting out of their CD. They can move their IRA into a self-directed IRA. Some of the companies that I work with are Entrust, Equity Trust, UDirect IRA services. There are about 10 of them around the country, but those are the 3 that I work with some of my private lenders. And I actually help handle the paperwork and smooth out when they submit to do a deal with us. The other option is HELOC money. You might have some equity in your house yourself, but your private lenders might have equity. Some people, believe it or not, have a HELOC that is sitting there and isn't being tapped. They're just not using it, but they know they have the ability to. So one of my private lenders actually borrows the money from their HELOC, which they get at maybe 3.25%, I think, or 3.5%. And then we pay them 10% on their money. So they're really leveraging money that they don't have. They're using their HELOC, and then we pay them the interest, and they make money. They make money on that. So people don't have to have cash to actually be your private lender. It's just there's a lot of creative ways to have a private lender. All right, so let me give you a link, and I will screen share for you and show you where you can find that ebook, and then we'll work through some of the other ways to fund your deal that I have up at the top. Let's go with a screen share here. Okay. Here we go. All right, so make sure you can see that. All right, this is a page from my website. It's called wisewealthuniversity.com/PV lending. PV lending. PV for private lenders. PV lending. So that you can go to that website, and I will put the link on the Facebook page and on the Wise Wealth University page, on the Google Plus page, and on the event page, so that you can see exactly where to go for that. PV lending meaning private. You put in your name and email, you get the ebook. And with that, you get a 10-day e-course sent right to your email that helps you work through the objections and all the different things that come up when you try to find private lenders for yourself. And I'll be doing some further training specifically on private lenders, but I would like everyone to get that ebook if they can, because it just gets you started. It's definitely the way to go. So anyway, wisewealthuniversity.com/PV lending. Let me bring us back to the live broadcast. While I'm there, I'll just see if anyone's posted any comments over on our pages or any questions. Now, coming up in a few weeks, we're going to have some speakers come in. We have a short sale expert, and then someone who is very, very good at finding deals in all aspects of the market. So we're going to pause between our 4 F's, which are find, fund, fix, and flip. And we're going to start talking in more detail about the first 2, which is find and fund. And then we'll move on to the fixing, rehab, and then the flipping. So we're going to have, if you have any specific people that you would like to hear interviewed, please post their name in. Or you can just say, well, I want a short sale expert, or I'd like someone who knows how to negotiate deals. So just put that in below in the comments section, and we'll be sure to take that into consideration when we invite people to come. All right, I'm going to stop the screen sharing at this point. All righty, and there we're back. All right. So that's where you can get your ebook to get started. Now let me move this way. Oh, let me get the top of the board back in there. So the other ways for finding deals really have a lot more to do with, the first 2 have to do with whether you own properties on your own already. That's why they're in red. They're not really for investors starting out. So you could refinance a property that you already have and use that money, and I've done that before, to get some cash to get started. You could also take out a home equity line of credit on a property that you have and use that money. That's very easy, because when you're not using the money, it's just sitting there, but then you can write a check. I've done that too. Write a check for the down payment or for the rehab money for a property that you want to do. The other one is 1031 exchange. You also have to own a property, obviously, to do this. And I've done this twice, where the property that I owned had really come up to the top of that local market. And I was able to sell it at the top of the market and then move that money through a 1031 exchange into another property. And you have to buy something that's the same price or higher in order to, satisfy the 1031 exchange. So I moved money from individual single family properties that I owned into apartment buildings when I did the 1031 exchange. And the other option is, of course, always the wholesale. You don't need to fund the deal. Usually, sometimes you could put a little money down into escrow or just have an option on the property, but you can always find a partner to assign the contract to and wholesale the deal. So we've done that, and sometimes I work with even other wholesalers or people who have a deal or other investors, and I find them the buyer, and they pay me a fee for finding the buyer for them from my list. So that's another way to get started, and you could have a whole training just on that. So those are some of the ways, but the ones in blue over here are the ways. The first two you need credit, and the ones below that you don't need credit. Number 3, 4, 5, and 6, you don't need any credit. The ones in red, 7 and 8, you actually need to have a property. And of course, wholesaling, you don't need a property, you don't need anything. You can just jump right in and get started. So that's what I have for tonight. I just sit up a little higher so you can see me above the. Let's move that back down. All right. Anyway, so I want to thank everyone for coming. Next week, I'm probably going to have an interview with someone who's really, really good at finding deals in a particular market, a particular niche. And so if you want to hear from one of those people, either in short sales, subject to a specific type, because I have several people lined up, let me know and post that on my website or on the Facebook comments. And I will put up a screen just for a minute, and I'll check to see if there's any questions that I could answer for you while we're on the call. So hold on one sec. Let me check the different pages here. Okay. I have to reload all the pages so the comments are fresh in case there's any questions. All right, you left some great comments. No particular questions, but please go ahead and look for, let me come back here. Go ahead and look for that ebook. Let me show you other places where you can find information. Sometimes I post a link directly to the ebook on, oops, here we go. On Twitter, you can follow me. My name is the Pink Professor on Twitter. So you can go there, and I've got some links to the ebook there as well. And then the other thing is I'd like you to join me every week for a hangout. So you can go to wisewealthuniversity.com/hangouts. And if you register there, you're brought directly to the page where we do the live hangouts, but you'll also get a weekly reminder about the hangout and what the topic is for that week. So that's a great way. If you can do that, go ahead and register and join me on these weekly hangouts. We do it every week, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Mountain time, 8 p.m. Central time, and 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you can stay up that long, please come. I'd like to give you some education on how to be a real estate investor. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.